For decades, we've asked, when are we going back to the moon? Today's game skips past that and asks, what happens when we stay? I'm Mike with Expedition Gaming, and this is Shackleton Base.
Welcome everybody to the South Pole of the Moon, also known as Shackleton Crater, but soon to be known as Shackleton Base. And that's where we come in. With the help of 3 different corporations, we're going to be building up and establishing a base here on the South Pole of the Moon. Now we will do this by sending out these astronauts to the moon to gather resources and build structures and interact with the 3 different corporations that are in play. Now the base game of Shackleton Base comes with 7 different corporations that you could be playing with. And when you set the game up, you could choose which corporations that you want to have in your game, or you could go with a random assortment. Now each one of them plays very differently, and so you'll end up doing different types of things in the game depending on which corporations are in play. For today's playthrough, we're going to be using the expansion called Below, Within, Above. And this expansion adds in 3 brand new corporations. And I thought it would be fun to throw all 3 of those in here so that if you are familiar with Shackleton Base, you'll get a sense of how the 3 new corporations play. But if you've never played Shackleton Base before, don't worry. The interesting thing about this game is every single game that you play, regardless of corporations, there's a certain framework that you're always going to be doing. And so you'll get a sense of what that core gameplay loop is like. And then by seeing the different flavors that the corporations add in, you'll also have a sense of how these can shake the game up. And later on in the video, I will just give a very brief overview of what each corporation adds in to the game. But for right now, this will give you a sense of how the actual game plays, as well as how the corporations will shape your both tactics and strategies. Now, Shackleton Base is played out over the course of 3 rounds. In every round, you're going to get 6 actions. You will take an action by selecting one of your available astronauts and sending them out to various locations to do various types of actions. You'll go around the table like this, each player sending out an astronaut and taking an action, until everyone has run out of their supply of astronauts, at which point the round will come to an end. You'll do some maintenance steps, and then you'll move into the next round. At the end of 3 rounds, you'll do some final scoring, and the player with the most points will be the winner. Now, the way that you score points in Shackleton Base comes from a variety of sources. There are ways that you can generate points during the game as you're playing along, but a large chunk of your points is going to come at the very end of the game when we do end-game scoring. And some of the things that you're paying attention to for that are the cards that you can acquire. Each of these cards is worth a certain number of points. The way that you have built up your base and filling it up with specific astronauts will score you points. Where you are at on this reputation track is worth points. And then finally, some corporations have the ability to get you some points at the end of the game. Not every corporation, but some of them do. In fact, in this game, Lunar City will give you some endgame points. So we'll see the specific details of how we're going to rack up those points as we move along, but just know that up front, we're mainly looking at cards and filling up our bases and this reputation track right here when it comes to endgame scoring. Okay, with all of that said, let's jump right into gameplay. Rather than giving a detailed rules breakdown, I say we hop right into the action. That way you can see what it feels like to actually play. Now we are all set up for a 2-player game. We are the purple player, and we will be going up against Mr. Alien here, who will be the green player. And heading into round 1, the first phase of every round is the shuttle phase. Now this phase was actually already taken care of during setup, but this is the phase where players receive the astronauts that they'll use for that round, as well as some resources, and it also is where you'll determine turn order for that round. Now we'll see this in more detail when we get into round 2 and we do that shuttle phase, but just know up front that it's these shuttles that have determined our starting resources as well as our current turn order. So with that said, these can go away. Now when you do this phase, there is the number of shuttles that are brought out is equal to the number of players plus 1. And so that additional shuttle that doesn't get chosen by the players is used for the Lunar Gateway up here. The astronauts that would have been found on that shuttle are dropped off into here, and you'll see how we interact with the Lunar Gateway here in just a little bit. Now there's one last thing to know about that took place during setup. Each player placed one of their domes out onto the map here, so we all begin the game with a little presence out on the board. Now you can see that the map is broken up into these sectors, and every sector can only hold one of your buildings. So by placing our dome into this sector, that is the only building or structure that we can build inside this sector. But now that we have a structure here, we can take advantage of some of the resources and benefits that this particular sector offers us. Now, the last thing about that is that every sector needs to be powered up if it's going to house a building. And during setup, you can, for free, take the next available solar panel and power up that sector. Normally, there's a cost associated with that, and we'll see the details of that when we come across it. But for now, just know that we have presence here. Mr. Alien has his dome right there, and these two domes here, those are placed in a 2-player game just to give a little more presence out on the board and allow these sectors to be interacted with a little bit more. So with all of that established, we're all set to take our first turn. Remember, we are the start player as determined by those shuttles, and you're reminded of turn order based on that track right there. So to take a turn, you will choose one of your remaining astronauts and send them to one of 3 different locations. Either you'll send them out to the crater to get some resources. You could send them to the Lunar Gateway to get a little money and bring one of these astronauts back to your base. Or you can send them to take a command action over here. And I think that's what we want to do. So we'll start our turn by grabbing one of these astronauts, and let's go with this red technician here. And we will place him right there. Now this is the action that lets you purchase a card. You can purchase cards from any of the corporations that are out there. And as we've seen, each corporation has 2 cards available to purchase. The cost to purchase a card is always a combination of credits and energy. And you'll find that cost listed right there. At the start of the game, every card costs 4 credits and 1 energy. But there's a catch as far as the energy goes. You have to have enough energy on hand to be able to spend it. So in this case, you can see there's that 4 there. There needs to be 4 energy on hand, and then you have to spend 1 of those energy. And that energy is tracked right here. Now, this is a community resource, and right now we start the game with 4 energy available. So we're fine there. There's enough energy that is available. We'll need to spend 1 of those and then the credits in order to purchase the card. Now, if you're ever too low on energy and you need to spend some, as a free action, you can spend 1 of your rare earth and create a solar panel, which will help generate some energy. I won't get into all the details of that at the moment, but we'll see that sooner rather than later. Right now, we're sitting on 4 energy, and the card that I've got my eye on is the advanced drill here for the Undermoon Corporation. So again, each one of these corporations start with the same cost. It's going to cost 4 credits. We need to spend 1 energy. There needs to be 4 on hand. So we will take care of the credits first. So the cost is 4, but we get a discount. And that comes in from our leader ability here. Each of us has a leader, which gives us each our own special ability. Our leader gives us a 1 credit discount whenever we purchase a card. If we ever build our headquarters structure out into the crater, then we will unlock the upgraded ability and we will gain a 3 credit discount instead of 1. But for right now, we'll get a 1 credit discount. So the cost of that card for us is going to be 3 credits. And then as we saw, it's going to require spending 1 energy. And then we can claim the advanced drill. So that will enter our tableau. And first and foremost with cards, every card is worth points. And so those points are listed right here. So this will give us 3 points at the end of the game. Then anything in the upper left-hand corner is something that you will receive immediately whenever you purchase the card. And that can be a variety of things. In this case, this is going to advance our drill 2 spaces. Now the drill is a brand new element added into the game through the expansion, and it is this sideboard right here. And it is specifically brought in through the Undermoon Corporation. So whenever you're playing with the Undermoon, you'll have this drill sideboard here. And whenever you advance that drill, you'll move it along this track down here, essentially drilling underneath the surface of the moon, and that's going to have a variety of effects. But one of the main things that this will gain you is the ability to slot in some income tiles, which will help boost up the kind of income that you get. Now it comes at a cost, and we'll see that cost unfold as we move through the game. So as we advance, oh, by the way, this started advanced 1 space for us. If you look over at Alien, that's the starting space of where your drill should normally begin. Ours was advanced down to the 1st space because of where we placed our starting structure here. Wherever you place your starting structure, you activate that corporation's token in your area. And whenever you activate that corporation token, it advances your drill. So again, if you're unfamiliar with this, that'll make more sense as we move through, but just know that our drill started 1 space advanced because of where we placed out during setup. So now with this, we're going to advance 2 more spaces. So the first advancement would bring the drill over to here and unlock this fracture token. And the fracture token must be placed out into the crater here at a location where you have a structure. Thematically speaking, I suppose this is the drill working underneath your structures, sort of damaging the foundations, I suppose. So the fracture token will go out, and this one will straddle between a couple of sectors. One of the sectors must contain one of your structures. And when you put that fracture token out, you will earn 3 credits right away. So we'll take this 5 back. So putting the fracture token out there gives you a little bit of a benefit, but the trade-off is that later on when we come out to the crater here to tap into some resources, we can actually no longer earn credits out of this sector here until that token is removed by repairing this fracture. So again, we'll see the details of that as we move along, but just know that putting this out there, as I said, comes at a cost, and that cost means this sector is a little less useful to us until we repair that. So that was 1 advancement. The second advancement will drop it down to here. There's no immediate effect to it being right there, but those are our 2 advancements. Now, this ongoing ability also triggers at this time. And this says whenever we're advancing that drill, we'll gain 1 credit. And so whenever you have a card like this come into effect, it does apply to the card that brought it into effect as well. So in this case, we'll get to collect 2 credits for advancing our drill 2 spaces. Now we'll reveal a new card. Technically, these cards are called projects, and going to this location is considered funding a project. But that action is now complete, and we chose a technician, we chose a red astronaut for this red row here, because if you match the color of the row with the right colored astronaut, you'll get the bonus at the end of the row when you take this action. So technically, you can use any colored astronaut in any of these rows. But if you plan carefully and put the matching color on that row, then you'll gain the bonus at the end. Now this bonus here says that we can take 1 corporation action. Now corporation actions are sprinkled all throughout the game. A large collection of them is along the reputation track here. And the higher up the reputation track you go, the more access you have to these various actions. And they're all simple things, like this one will gain you 2 rep on the track. This one will give you a titanium. This one would give you a rare earth. This one would let you activate the corporation tokens that are out. And as we discussed, that's a way that you can advance your drill or gain a blueprint and so forth. And then every corporation itself has its own unique action, and sometimes you'll even find them on the project cards. So again, the corporation actions are found kind of all over the place. But for ours that we're going to activate, we're going to use Undermoon's own unique corporation action. Now this one allows you to claim one of the leftmost underground hall tokens and slot it into your drill track. So that's what we're going to do. I like the look of this one here. So now the next time someone takes one, you choose from this one, or this one. But we're going to go with this one. And then we slot it into this newly excavated space here. So that'll go just right there. And now, through the course of the game, we're going to be bringing astronauts into our player board here and filling in different slots with astronauts. So if we ever get to place an astronaut inside there, that's going to boost up our income. During the income phase, this will give us 1 titanium and 3 credits. So now we're on the hunt to be able to get some astronauts into this space there. Now down the road, the other version of this corporation action would allow us to actually flip that token. So we would take this and flip it to the other side, and then at the end of the game, for each one of these tokens that's flipped and has an astronaut next to us, it would give us 6 victory points, which is a nice little chunk of points for each of these tiles. So for right now, we just used it to fill in the slot there. But that does it for our turn. We've sent our astronaut out and purchased a card, or AKA funded a project, which gave us a new ongoing ability, advanced our drill, fractured our infrastructure, and allowed us to give us the potential for some better income. On to Mr. Alien's turn. And for his turn, he's going to grab a blue astronaut, which is a scientist. He's actually going to follow in our footsteps. He's going to do the same action to fund a project. And you'll notice there's a credit cost inside this space here. So he's going to have to pay 1 credit just to place down right there, which is likely why he's doing this, because if he waits any longer, this becomes more and more expensive. So he's sending to there, which will cost him that credit. He's going to fund a project from Lunar City, and he wants to go with the technical school here. Now, just like our project, that's going to cost him 4 credits. He'll need to spend 1 energy and have 4 on hand. But because of our project, we're down to 3 energy. So he's going to spend his rare earth, and that will let him build the next available solar panel. So these panels are located around the perimeter of the crater. He'll take the next available one, and you just place that into the central hex. And now this is available for any player to come along and use, And these are used when you're trying to build structures into hexes that are not currently powered up. So now there's a solar panel waiting for anybody to come use. But because he built this one, that's going to generate 1 energy back onto the track here. So he will advance there. And by advancing onto or through any of these icons here, you'll gain that benefit. So he'll gain 1 reputation for generating that energy. And now that there's 4 energy on hand, he can spend 1 of those for his project. And of course, it will cost him the full 4 credits because he doesn't have any discounts like we do. And then he acquires the technical school. Now this one's immediate benefit allows him to build a workshop. And these are the workshops. So he's going to get to choose one of these to build out into the crater somewhere. Now the cost to build one of these workshops is located right here. It's going to take 2 titanium. So he'll need to spend both of these. And then he's going to choose to build this workshop right here. Each workshop has the potential to give you a different benefit if you fill it up with the right kind of astronauts. So this workshop in particular, if he's able to get some scientist astronauts located in there, will actually help reduce the cost of placing out into the command module. So for every blue astronaut you have in that workshop, you'll get a 1 credit discount, making it easier to get out here and a little less of a race for you to jump out so that you're not spending extra money to do the actions you would like to do. So he's going to build that one out. And when you build out into the crater, the main restriction you have to look out for is you are never allowed to have 2 of your structures in the same hex there. So that would not be a legal placement. In addition, you can never have 2 structures of the same size in a hex. So, for example, supposing we had built into there, he could not come in and also build another workshop in there. And then the other requirement is that the sector needs to have power. So in this case, he's going to build into this sector right here. It is not a powered sector, but because he just built that solar panel, there's one available, and he can place that in there. Now, if there was no solar panel available, then that's where he could also take that free action to construct one. Bearing in mind, you can only ever do this once per turn. But he's already done that, so there was a solar panel available. So he constructs into there. And now that he has presence in this sector, it's going to give him access to different resources, like the rare earth that's located here, or being able to tap into Lunar City's abilities. And now that card essentially gave him a free action. That build action is the same one that we see right here. And in this case, it let him do that as a free action, but specifically he had to choose a workshop for the build. But then also looking at this card, the other great benefit is he has an ongoing ability now that says whenever he brings in civilians from the Lunar City, which are these meeples up here, whenever he acquires one of those, he can place them specifically in his workshops, and they can count as any type of astronaut. As I said before, in order to get the benefit of this discount, you need to have blue astronauts in there. And now with this ongoing ability, he could also use some of those civilians from Lunar City, and they would function just the same. So gives him a little flexibility on what he can do with those civilians, as well as a little less restrictive on trying to get just the right astronauts into the workshops here. So that will do it for his funding a project. He sent a scientist out, which means it didn't match the color. He's not going to gain the benefit that's over there, but he only has 1 red astronaut, so he's likely going to be saving that for a different use. The red ones are the ones that can generate you money when you send them out to the crater, and since that's the only one he has on hand, Looks like he's going to be saving that to get some money, especially because he's now a bit lower on money. And then lastly, his leader ability says that after he's resolved a command module action, which is what he just did, he could spend 3 reputation to take a corporation action. Unfortunately, he only has 1 rep to spend, so he'll forego that ability for now. Back over to us, and I think I'd like to get our own workshop built out. If we can get this built and filled in with red astronauts, that'll give us more credit discounts on getting cards and reduce the energy requirements. So I want to get this one built. So to do that, we will grab our engineer. We'll send him right there. And then again, the cost is going to be 2 titanium. We're going to build this one right into this sector here. Now, of course, it is not powered, so we need to create a solar panel by spending our rare earth that we have on hand. And then that will build us the next available solar panel right here. We can place that right into there. That's also going to generate 2 power, or 2 energy. And by advancing there, that'll give us 2 reputation. So that finishes the build part of our action. And because we sent an engineer to this yellow row, we will gain the bonus at the end. And this is going to let us either activate or add a corporation token to the sector we just built into. So there are no corporation tokens in this sector, so we're going to get to add one. And I would like to gain a civilian from Lunar City. So you take the next available corporation token and add it into that sector. Now you'll notice by removing that, we have just revealed new icons for the cost related to this corporation's projects. They got a little bit more expensive. Now it's going to take 5 credits, and the energy requirement is a little higher. There needs to be 5 energy on hand. You're still only spending 1. So this is the mechanism that increases the cost over the course of the game for these projects. So now we can add this token into any of the available slots. We'll put it in to there. And the reason why you might choose one slot over the other has to do with the way that you'll activate rows in the crater here. And you'll see that in action here shortly. But I think we're going to choose that one right there. And then we get to activate that right away. And for that one, it allows us to take the next available civilian off of Lunar City's board. Now, this one has some reputation requirements. Anyone can grab civilians in this row right here. But if we want anything from this row, you need to have your reputation at least 4. If you want it from here, you need to have your rep up to at least 8 or 12. So you want to keep climbing the rep track if you want to be able to keep grabbing these civilians. But by receiving this civilian, we now can add them anywhere that we want into our base that has an available slot. Now for us, if we place that civilian right there, that doesn't do us any good because we don't have Mr. Alien's fancy little ability that lets these civilians act as any color. But what we can do is place that civilian in right here, and that will allow us to collect that income during the income phase. So we're good to go there. And again, just for reference, the other 2 corporation tokens would give you a blueprint for Zenith Works, and blueprints are required to overbuild some of your structures. That, again, is a new thing in this expansion. We'll see overbuilding here shortly. And as we already saw, this one will allow you to advance your drill. So those corporation tokens, again, as part of a bonus for sending the engineer, if they had already been a token, we could have just activated that if we wanted to and advanced our drill. But since it was empty, we added one in and activated and got its benefit. Over to Mr. Alien, and he is running low on cash. So he's going to exploit the crater. And that is this action right here. This is where you will send out any of your astronauts to the crater, and depending on the color of astronaut you send out, you'll gain a different benefit. If you send out engineers, then you'll get to tap into this middle resource and gain that. So it's a way of gaining titanium or rare earth. If you send out the red technicians, those will generate you money, and the scientists will let you tap into those corporation tokens like we just saw on our turn. So in this case, he wants cash. He's going to send out his technician. Now you'll notice all around the perimeter of the crater are these little white spaces with credit costs printed inside them. That's where you'll place your astronaut to exploit the row that space is facing. So in this case, Mr. Alien will place out right there, and he's going to exploit this row right here, that row of sectors. Now, you will exploit every sector that has presence in it. So in this case, he'll activate this sector and that sector and ignore these because there's no presence in there. Now, as long as you have presence in there, this is free to do. But let's say he went here instead and he wanted to activate this row of sectors right here. He has presence here, so he would get to activate that for free, but he does not have any presence here, so he would have to pay in order to activate this sector, and the cost of that would be what's printed in that space there. So every sector that you don't have presence in that is active, you pay that cost for. And that cost would be paid to the owner of the largest structure in that sector. Now, in this case, there's only one, and this is the dummy player, so those 2 credits would get paid to the bank. As another example, say he places there, and he's activating this sector here. He doesn't have presence in any of these, so he would pay 2 credits to the bank, 2 credits to us, and 2 credits to us here. Now you have to be able to pay for that cost in total at the time of placement. So this is an interesting example. This red astronaut would give him money, and every sector you activate is going to give you 3 credits. So by placing here, he would get 3, 6, 9 credits, but he has to be able to pay the 6 credits up front. So you can't take your profits from the placement and use that to pay for the placement itself. So those are the rules. But in this case, he's placing right here. He's activating the 2 sectors where he has presence, so it's free to do so. So he's going to get 3, 6 credits for this. And again, if he had placed a yellow astronaut here, then he would be tapping into the central resource. So he would get a rare earth here and a titanium there. If he had placed a blue astronaut, he would activate the corporation tokens to get himself a civilian and a blueprint. So that is exploiting the crater. Now, coming back to us, let's check out the third and final space that you could send an astronaut to, and that's the Lunar Gateway. Now for this one, you can send any colored astronaut. The color here doesn't matter. You'll send them up to the Lunar Gateway. That will give you 3 credits. You can bring back one of the existing astronauts and then do a corporation action. So I think for us, we're going to send out our remaining engineer, and we'll place him there. And now you can bring anybody back. One important distinction is I could bring back an engineer if I wanted. That might sound silly, but you'll see why in a moment. You cannot bring back the astronaut that you just sent. So you can bring the same color back, but not the one that you just sent. In this case, we want to bring back one of these guys here. So we'll gain 3 credits. We're bringing back an astronaut of red, and we're going to place him right into there. So, for example, supposing we had this workshop freed up, we may want to bring in a yellow astronaut. So you could potentially send one up there to bring one back into here. So that's why you might send the same color to bring them back. But in this case, we want to fill this in to start giving us the discount on card purchases. And then again, we get 1 corporation action. And once again, we're going to go with an increase on the rep track. Now this one's particularly important for us because as we advance our drill, the further down the drill is, it's going to cost us reputation when we go into the maintenance phase. So we want to make sure we have enough on hand, and we want to continue climbing that, both for points, and there are some ways we can spend reputation to gain benefits. So going up that track is going to be fairly important for us. So I want to keep climbing over there. Heading back to Mr. Alien, he's going to continue leveraging the crater. He's going to place out the yellow astronaut. That'll let him tap into the middle here. So he'll gain a titanium and a rare earth. And actually, I think we want to follow suit. Let's send out this technician, and we're going to send him to right here. Now, we're activating this row here, and we have presence here, but not there. So it's going to cost us 1 credit. And of course, that goes to the bank for this dummy player. But now, we can earn some money from these 2 sectors, but not this one because of this fracture token. Now again, this is part of Undermoon's unique elements of the game that are added in with the expansion. When a red fracture token is part of the sector you're trying to activate with your red astronaut, instead of gaining cash, you repair this fracture token. So now this will be removed, and as the other side shows, we'll actually gain 2 reputation for the repair. Apparently people like it when you fix things up. So that will continue pushing us up that track there. And we can hang on to that token right there. So again, that is in place of receiving cash for that sector. Now we will get some credits for this one and this one. So that'll get us 6 credits. Now these little tokens here are worth hanging on to because Undermoon has this corporation goal right here. Now actually every corporation has 3 different corporation goals, and these are things that we're gunning for throughout the game. In this case, if we collect up to 3 of these repaired fracture tokens, then we could claim this corporation goal right here. This one here wants us to have 2 of these hulls in place with astronauts next to them, 3 fracture tokens on hand, and then this one here wants you to get your drill to the very last space on the drill track. Now, it might be hard to see, but there's a little 3+ on these bottom spaces here. Those are only available in a 3-player game, and then this one's only available in a 4-player game. So here in our 2-player game, we could only claim, only these top ones are available. And then the other restriction is that you can only ever claim 1 corporation goal per corporation. So say we did collect 3 of these fracture tokens. At the end of our turn, we could snag one of our markers here, and we could claim that. We would gain those points immediately, plus this little modifier, wherever you're sitting at on the reputation track, will boost up the score that you would receive there. So that would give us a total of 10 points if we claim that right now. But that is now the only goal we can claim for this corporation. So if we were really gunning for getting the drill, all the way to the bottom of the track, we might want to hang off on claiming this and wait till we could get the higher payout. So there's a little risk reward in there because do you jump in and grab the goal that you qualify for right now, or do you hold out hoping that you can get it before someone else does those higher reaching goals? Lunar City's goals are having a certain number of civilians in your base. Doesn't matter where they are, as long as they're in your base, then you can claim one of those. And ZenithWorks goals have to do with overbuilding. And again, we've not talked about this or seen this a ton just yet, and we'll see this in more detail as we go along. But the goals here are having 2 structures with 2 levels. This one would be having 1 structure with 3 levels. And this one here wants you to build ZenithWorks structures with a total size of 7 or more. So for example, these are the ZenithWorks structures. So this structure here has a size of 5. So if you built that structure out, you are 5/7 of the way there. And the way you get these structures is through these cards. Like the mining facility here, when you fund this project, you'll receive both of these B structures, which is why there's that little B in the corner there. So you would gain this card along with those structures, and then this corporation action would allow you to overbuild one of these. Now, overbuilding means that you have a structure in place that you could then overbuild this onto. And in order to overbuild, the structure that you are building on top of must be larger than the structure you're currently building. In other words, you couldn't take a workshop and overbuild with the exact same footprint. So it's got to go onto a larger structure than itself. Now that's building ZenithWorks structures, but you can overbuild your own structures by spending blueprints. So if Mr. Alien had this out on the board, he could spend 2 blueprints to overbuild a size 2 structure onto his size 3 structure. It's kind of hard to see in the angles there, but this would be an example of a level 2 structure. Then on another overbuild, he could actually build a size 1 structure on top of a size 2, which is on top of a size 3. And that would satisfy that requirement right there. So that's essentially how overbuilding works in this game. And of course, that is a new addition that the expansion adds in. The idea of overbuilding is unique to ZenithWorks. A couple of important distinctions is that you can never have more than 1 level of structure per sector. So in other words, you couldn't overbuild on this once and then overbuild on this twice. And then the other thing to note is that overbuilding inside a sector does not increase your presence within that sector. So as we talked about before, we have a size 2 structure in here, and Mr. Alien could come in and build a size 3 structure there. And if he ever overbuilt, he still is only considered as having a size 3 structure in this sector. It doesn't change his presence with inside. Heading back over to Mr. Alien's board, he's going to send out another astronaut and continue to exploit the crater. There's a party on the crater. So he's going to go there and activate this row, of which he has 0 presence. So it's going to cost him 2, 4, 6 credits to exploit this row here. But that will gain him 2 titanium and another rare earth. Over to us, and let's fund another project. So that's going to cost us 2 credits for that placement. And then I want to grab this emergency drill right here. It's going to cost 4 minus our credit discount for a total of 3. We need to have 4 energy on hand and then spend 1 of them. We're good to go there. And then we can claim this emergency drill. Now there's no immediate benefit. It is worth 2 points, but now we have a new corporation action that we can take, and this little arrow means that you can only do it basically once per round. Once you've activated it, you tap it to indicate that it's used up, and that will reset between rounds. And since we sent a technician, we'll gain the corporation action here. And in fact, we will go ahead and tap that as our corporation action. This says that we can activate up to 2 of our halls with an astronaut/civilian inside it. So we're going to gain the income from there. That's going to give us 1 titanium and 3 credits. For Alien's turn, he's going to build, placing right here for 1 credit. And then he's going to build this laboratory right here. The cost for that is 1 energy, 3 titanium, and a rare earth. So titanium's gone, rare earth is close to gone. And then he needs to spend 1 energy. And you'll notice that for this one, there's no requirement to have a certain number of energy on hand. You spend what's there. And then one more little thing on this energy track here. You'll notice some of these icons down here. If energy ever gets so low that it's dangerous, you can spend credits to produce that energy in place of rare earth. So that's always a possibility if it gets low enough. And if it gets high enough, you actually cannot build any solar panels while the marker is in the 7 or the 8 slot there. Mr. Alien is going to build into this space right there. And of course, that is not powered. So he will spend his last rare earth to build this solar panel and power that up. And that will generate 2 energy, which will give him 2 reputation, which brings him right up to there. Now he did not send matching astronaut out, so he will not gain the benefit that is there, which means this sector will not receive its own corporation token. All right, for our final action for this round, we're going to send him over to this spot right here. And all this will do is allow us to take 3 corporation actions. And I actually think we want to take all of them on the rep track here. Again, when you're taking multiple corporation actions, you can only ever activate each corporation action on this track 1 time per turn. So we're going to do 3 of them, and they all need to be 3 unique ones. We're going to start right here, and we'll give ourselves 2 rep, and then we'll just do this one for a titanium, and that one for a rare earth. And then because we matched the color here, we'll gain the bonus here. This is going to let us pull back any astronaut of our choice from the Lunar Gateway. And let's grab this guy. We'll place him right there. During our maintenance phase, we'll gain income, and depending on who we have in these buildings, we'll gain certain types of income. So by putting the engineer in there, that'll gain us 1 titanium during the income step. Coming back to Mr. Alien, I realized I overlooked giving him this 3 credit instant bonus for building out that laboratory. Each of these laboratories has an instant bonus for building it out. This one would let you gain the resource from the sector you're building into. This would let you activate a corporation token in the sector you're building into. This one gives you 3 credits. So he should have got that when he built. So he should be good to go now. And for his last turn, he's going to send this guy out to the Lunar Gateway. And he's going to bring back this one. So he'll gain 3 credits, this astronaut, and he will do a corporation action. He's going to place that one up there because that will give him 3 credits during income. There's the 3 from the Lunar Corporation. Now for his corporation action, he's going to use Zenith Works corporation action here, which lets you spend blueprints to overbuild. So he's going to spend this 1 blueprint, which will let him build a 1-size building. And whenever you overbuild using blueprints, it never costs titanium or rare earth. So this would normally cost 1 titanium to build this, but the blueprint takes care of that. And he's going to overbuild right there. And with that action, we are now both out of astronauts, which brings us to the end of round 1. Or rather, the end of the action phase of round 1. So that is this here. With the action phase completed, we now move into the maintenance phase of round 1. And the first step of this maintenance phase is to check each of the 3 corporations and resolve their maintenance phases. Some corporations have maintenance phases, some of them don't. In this case, Undermoon has a maintenance phase, and this is where we'll lose reputation based on where we're at on the drill track. Mr. Alien is fine, he's done nothing here, so he will not lose any rep. We, on the other hand, well, we've been digging around, so our drill is right here, and that's probably super hard to see, but that is a -2. So we're going to lose 2 reputation for being at this position or this level on the drill track. Lunar City does not have any maintenance. Zenith Works does have a maintenance step. And this is where you'll earn victory points for each of your overbuilds that you have out on the crater. Every level 2 structure will gain 1 point. Every level 3 is going to be 4 points. And if you got a level 4 structure out there, you're getting 9 points for that. In this case, Mr. Alien has, with that overbuild he just did, he gave himself 1 level 2 structure, which will gain him 1 point. So that is corporation maintenance. The next step is we will retrieve astronauts from the crater. Now, we haven't talked about this yet, but this is a very interesting consideration when you're placing your astronauts around the crater to exploit it. Each of these astronauts are going to go back to somebody, and it may not go back to the person that placed that out there. The way that you determine this is for each of the rows that the astronauts are facing, you determine who has a majority of presence in that row, and that's who's going to receive that astronaut. So, for example, this row here, this is a clear winner. Mr. Alien is the only one with presence here, so he's going to receive this astronaut back, as well as this astronaut back. Now, as you receive astronauts back from the crater, you are allowed to freely rearrange any astronaut that is in your base. Even people that have been there previously, at this point you can rearrange this however you see fit, bearing in mind that where your astronauts are placed might give you ongoing discounts throughout the round. They certainly will affect your income, and then some of these placements will give you endgame scoring. Now, the important thing is after this phase here, wherever you've placed your astronauts, they're going to be locked in to that position for the upcoming round, with the exception of when you build a building. And once you've built that structure, at that moment, you are allowed to move 1 astronaut from anywhere in your base to that new building's location. This can help you tap into some of these discounts. And then, of course, once you get back to your maintenance phase, you can rearrange these in whatever way you see fit. Mr. Alien's going to place this guy here, which is going to give him another 3 credits during income. And then he'll place that astronaut right there. This won't do anything for him right now, but at the end of the game, if he can fill up this lab with 3 red astronauts, then that'll help him score what's on here. And each red astronaut inside this lab will get him points. If he's got 1 red astronaut, he'll get 2 points. 2 of them would give him 5, and if he fills it up, he'll get 10 points. So if you plan carefully, you construct all of these and fill them with the correct astronauts. That's a total of 30 points, which is a good chunk. Coming back to the crater here, now we have a row where there's multiple presents. And so, again, whoever has the most presents would take the astronauts that are facing that row. In this case, there's a tie. Mr. Alien has a total of 3, and we have a total of 1, 2, 3 as well. So now you go to a tiebreaker. And the tiebreaker is the sector that is closest to the astronaut, whoever has the largest structure in that sector. So as an example, let's say that our size 2 building was right there. Well, now we still have that tie. We have a 3 and a 3, but he has the largest structure in the sector that's closest to that astronaut. So Mr. Alien would claim that astronaut. So in this case, the tie will be broken in his favor because he's got the largest structure closest to that astronaut. And over here, the tie will be broken in our favor because we have the largest structure in the sector closest to that astronaut. So that's how it all shakes out. We'll gain this one, and he will gain this one. And we're going to lock him in right there because that's going to give us max discount on future card purchases. So now we'll get a total of 2 credit discount from here and a 1 credit discount from there. So we're looking at a 3 credit discount for now. And then the energy requirements are now reduced by 2. We still have to spend the same amount of energy, but the amount of energy that needs to be on hand has now been lowered by 2. So makes it a little bit easier to get a hold of those projects. With that phase done, we now move into the income phase. And this is dictated by the astronauts that we have right up here. Every occupied dome will give you income based on the color of astronaut. So we will gain 1 titanium for him. And then, this is the big benefit of the undermoon, we'll gain another titanium and 3 credits for this occupied hall. And Alien's income, he has 2 domes with red astronauts for a total of 6 credits. Next up is paying maintenance costs. This is going to be a combination of all the buildings we've built plus where we're at on the reputation track. So looking at our base here, we have 1 dome, which has a maintenance cost of 1, and 1 workshop, which has a maintenance cost of 2. So our total maintenance cost for our base is 3. And then we're sitting in this section right here on the rep track, so that adds 2 more onto our maintenance. So we have a total maintenance cost of 5 credits. If you ever have maintenance costs you can't pay, you don't have enough credits to cover it, then for every credit you cannot cover, you lose 1 step on the reputation track. And if you ever make it to the bottom of the track and you continue losing, then you will lose 2 points for every bump down on the reputation track that you should be receiving. Mr. Alien's costs are a little bit higher. He has 2 domes, so it's 1, 2. He's got 1 workshop, which is a maintenance of 2, so he's at the 4. And then his lab has a maintenance cost of 3. So he's looking at a total of 7 for his base, and then he owes 1 more for his rep track position. So he's a total of 8 for his maintenance cost. Now, if you ever build this workshop out and then fill it with yellow astronauts, each one of these yellow astronauts would reduce your maintenance cost by 3. That's one way that you can help offset what you owe during this phase. And then the last step of maintenance is right here, and that just simply says you remove all the astronauts from the command action area here. And of course, this card will reset for us. So that is the end of round 1. And now we head into round 2, which begins with the shuttle phase. So as we said earlier, this was completed during setup, so we didn't see it, but now we'll see it in action. So you'll grab these round 2 shuttles, you give them a shuffle, and then you will deal out a number of shuttles equal to the number of players plus 1. Actually, I'm going to move them right here to zoom in on them just a little bit better. So here you can see the astronauts that you would receive, any infusion of resources, and again, importantly, the numbers on the top are what's going to dictate our new turn order. So the way that this works is in reverse turn order. So in this case, Mr. Alien's going to choose first. He'll choose one of these shuttles, then we'll choose, and then the third and remaining shuttle is what's going to populate the Lunar Gateway here with more astronauts. And looking at these, Mr. Alien likes the idea of jumping up in turn order and some extra engineers on hand for construction and building. So he'll gain then, of course, a titanium and 5 credits. And with what's left here, I kind of like the idea of the balanced workforce here. Having a couple of each one of them feels nice. Turn order is not going to matter because we're going second no matter what. Rare earth would be great, but I don't like only having one engineer on hand. So I think we'll go with this one here. And then we'll gain 7 credits and 1 titanium. And the turn order will reverse. And these are the astronauts that will get added into the Lunar Gateway. Now, you might be able to see this here, maybe not because it's pretty small, but at any given moment, there can only be a maximum of 4 astronauts of a particular color in the Lunar Gateway. So even though we should be adding in 3 of these blue astronauts, there's only room for 1 additional until it's that 4 max. So the other 2 will just get back into the supply. And so with the shuttle phase complete, we now move into the actions phase with Mr. Alien taking the first turn of the round. And to start it out, he's feeling a little low on resources here. So he will exploit the crater, and he'll send out to right here. That'll get him 2 titanium and 1 rare earth. Coming back to us, as we head into our second round here, here's what I'm thinking. I would love to get our headquarters built out. If we can do that, that's going to give us a 3 credit discount from here, and then 2 more credit discount from these guys. That's a 5 credit discount with a lowered energy requirement of 2. That would make it really easy to get a hold of the cards that are out there and fund those projects, which could be a really good source of points. So I'd love to do that. Here's the only catch. To build one of these out, it takes 4 titanium and 1 rare earth. And you might notice that a headquarters, it fills up an entire sector. It takes up every space. So what that means is it needs to go into a sector that is powered, or we need to be able to generate, create a solar panel specifically for the headquarters. There's our problem. We've only got 1 rare earth. So we don't have enough rare earth to both build this and create a solar panel. So I say we try to find a path forward that lets us get that out. And I think maybe for that, we could, okay, yeah, I think I see a way that we can do this. Let's send this guy out to right there. So we'll do a regular construction action. We're going to build this lab right here. It's going to take 3 of our titanium and the rare earth that we are trying to get, and 1 energy. And we're going to build it right here. And the lab that we built is going to let us tap into the resource of the crater that we're building into, so that will get us 1 of those titanium back. And then because we sent the correct astronaut out, we will get to activate this. And I think for this one, we could tap into this and get a civilian, but instead we're going to go with the other option, and we want to drill. So we're going to add in this token here, and we're going to stick it right here. Now this is an interesting little rules thing to pay attention to. When you are constructing into a location, if that sector already has one of those corporation tokens in it, you can't add a second one in there. So for example, say Mr. Alien was building into here, he could not add a second undermoon token into this sector because there's already one there. Now, a way of kind of bending that rule is what we've done right here. We've built into this sector. There is no undermoon token in this sector, so we technically could place this right there. So now this sector is in contact with 2 of those. That's a way of manipulating that rule a little bit. But I want to put this over here. And the reason why is when you're exploiting the crater and you're activating these tokens, if we had 2 tokens in like this, when we activate this sector, we could only tap into 1 of those undermoon tokens. Whereas if we spread it like this, when we activate this row, we could hit this 2 different times. And because we know we want to drill a lot, it makes sense to spread those out so that we can activate both of these if the circumstances are just right. And in this case, because we're putting it out, we're activating it for sure right now. So we will advance our drill along the track 1 more space. This is going to create another fracture. And this token will go down into a sector that we have presence in, and it will cover up the middle resource. We will gain that resource right away, and we're going to go with the rare earth that we need. And just like the other fracture token that we saw, we now, when we exploit the crater, you will not gain that benefit. Instead, you'll have to repair that off. But for right now, that gives us 1 of the rare earths that we need. Yikes, these guys sleeping on the job. Now, I realize this might look like we're almost making reverse progress in getting towards this sucker coming out. But I think if we pair what we're doing right here with these cards up here, that we might have ourselves a nice little combo. I've got my eye set on the regolith reinforcement, which will give us a titanium when we acquire it. And then whenever we repair any of these fractures, not only will we gain the rep bump, but we'll also get to exploit that sector. And so what I'm looking at here is if we have that card and we repair that, then we'll gain the final rare earth that we need. So a little bit of a roundabout way, but we're also setting up a few other bits of progress, like advancing our drill along the way. So I think in the long run, this will be a nice synergy to tie everything, all of our goals together. And actually, I think I'm going to consolidate our money here a little bit. And let's not forget that since we drilled, our advanced drill goes off and we do gain one more credit. Mr. Alien is going to fund a project. For this one, he's looking at enhanced buildings. So it's going to cost him 4 credits, and he'll need to spend 1 energy. There is enough on hand, no problem there. That will gain him that. And that will gain him 1 blueprint right away. And from now on, whenever he does a build action, he'll get to take a corporate action as well. And for his bonus here, for his corporation action, he is just going to push up on the reputation track 2 more times. Coming back to us, let's work on that plan we were talking about. So we will also fund a project which is going to cost us 1 credit there for the placement. And then we are going to fund the regolith reinforcement. It has a credit cost of 5. That is discounted down to 2 for us. And the energy requirement of 5 is also discounted down to 3 for us. And again, we have the 2 requirement discount and then the 3 credit discount all coming from that. So we're right where we need to be energy-wise, but we do still have to spend the 1. The 5 credit cost discounted down by 3 means we're going to spend 2 credits. And then we'll receive this. And now that'll get us 1 titanium right away. And now we're sitting on all the resources we need to build this. There's still 2 energy in the tanks, so hopefully that sticks around by the time we can build this. I think I'll try maybe stacking this a little bit. We're running out of room here for all this stuff. Then I think for the corporation action for here, let's activate the undermoons action again, and we'll grab another one of these halls here. I actually wish we had access to the halls that give us the rare earth, but so maybe working our way towards that. We'll grab this one here, which is still good. It'll give us 3 credits and 2 rep whenever it's activated. So this one will go in this side here. Now we just need to get the drill out of the way and somebody into that spot. And then we could activate both of these holes by tapping into that card. So hopefully we can make all this happen this round. Alien is going to have another straightforward turn. He's going to exploit again. And with his engineer, he'll get 2 titanium and a rare earth. All right, back over to us, and with this new card in place, we're going to go ahead and exploit the crater ourselves. We'll send this engineer out. We'll place him right there. So that will gain us a titanium. A titanium, we are going to owe Alien 1 credit for the titanium there. And then this will repair this fracture, which will gain us 2 reputation. And thanks to our newfound ability right here, when we're repairing that, we also exploit that sector. So first things first, we will pay our credit to Mr. Alien. We'll gain 2 rep. And then we will gain 3 titanium, 1 rare earth. Coming back to Mr. Alien, he's going to build again, and where he needs to go costs 1 credit. He's going to build out this lab right here, which will take a rare earth, 3 titanium, and it will consume 1 energy. And he's going to build right here. Oh, and we hate to see that. The tug of war has begun. This is a really good position for him because we're now tied with presence. We each have 6. However, he's now locked in having the largest structure inside each of these sectors here. So if we want to beat him in majority here, we're going to have to build something inside here. And so we might see a little bit of a tug of war here, because as it is right now, he's going to be pulling back this astronaut right there. But the lab that he built will let him exploit that resource, so he will gain 1 of those titanium right back. And then for his bonus, he is not going to tap into there. He's going to call in another corporation token from the Zenith Works. So he'll place that in there, which will gain him a 2nd blueprint. And he can set this off now, and since he did the build action, he can do a corporation action. And for that one, he will use Zenith Works overbuilding action. He's going to spend both of these blueprints to overbuild this workshop right here. And he'll overbuild it just right there. Heading over our way, we're going to send this guy out to exploit the crater. We're going to go right there. Now we will need to pay Mr. Alien 2 credits because we don't have presence there. So, and now we can activate all 4 of these sectors here. So for this sector, we'll activate that one and advance our drill again. This one, we will take a civilian. This one will activate the drill, and this one will do the civilian. So we're going to get 2 civilians and 2 drill activations. So the drill will come down here and then advance over to here, which is going to fracture, of course. And with those 2 drills, we will gain 2 credits. And again, we'll get 2 civilians. So these will come over to us. We'll place 1 here. And then there's always this little holding area right there. We'll just stick him in there for right now. We got to put this fractured token out. And I say we'll place it out right there. So again, that will give us that resource. So we'll get another civilian. And then it's another area that we'll have to go back and repair. So we'll place him in there for now. Now this is kind of making me rethink a little bit about what we're shooting for here. You know, we're sitting on the resources to put this out, which would give us that great discount. But we also happen to be sitting on the exact sets of resources we need to build both of these out. And if we're starting to collect a handful of these, that's making me eye up this card over here that says those civilians in our labs could equal any color, which would be pretty good for endgame scoring. It would make it easier to fill these up. So we're kind of at a pivot point here. And I think we could shoot for either one that we want. We'll just kind of have to see tactically what makes sense based on what Mr. Alien does. Do we continue gunning for this, or do maybe we pivot and go after that? So we'll see. Speaking of building multiples of these out, I'm just now realizing that Mr. Alien was shortchanged when he built his second lab. Whenever you build these labs, as we've seen, you'll gain the instant bonus next to it, which he did get. But what I neglected to do was each time you build out a lab, you'll gain the instant benefit of that lab, plus the instant benefit of all of the labs you've previously built. So when he put this one out, he should have also gotten 3 more credits from this one. For his next action, Mr. Alien is going to also exploit the crater. He's going to play down to right here. And he's going to activate here and here. This one will cost him 2 credits. And for here, he's going to grab a civilian. And then for this one, he'll take the blueprint. And again, we're all within the, we're easily within the reputation range, but this would be the last 4 reputation civilian left. After that, we're going to need to maintain up in the 8+ range to get a hold of these guys. He's going to place that there, finally able to tap into this, which will help him get a discount on placing out for command actions. All right, coming back over to us, let's fund another project. It's going to cost us 2 credits for the placement. And the moment of decision is upon us. If we fund automated excavation, we'll get to build anything that we want. But if we go with the Academy of Science, then we are building out a laboratory and committing to that path. And as I keep looking at this, thinking about it, the benefit of getting this out is it would make it a lot easier to, even easier to fund projects, which would score us points. But building these out is also a surefire way, if we can fill them up, of getting us a bunch of points. And this would also generate us some other resources along the way. So with that card out there and it letting us leverage some of these guys, maybe we pivot. Let's try it. So with that in mind, we're going to fund the Academy of Science. Now the cost for this is by default 5 credits, 5 energy on hand, spending 1. Now, our energy requirements are lowered by 2, so we need to have 4 energy on hand. And when we look over here, there's only 1. Now we could create a solar panel, but the interesting thing is, first off, we don't want to spend that rare earth. And even if we did, it would only produce 1 energy, and it would not get us to the threshold. So instead, we're going to hit this bottom one here that lets us, in this dire energy emergency, spend 3 credits, and that will produce 3 energy on the track. So we'll spend those 3. This will go up, and that will gain us 2 reputation, which is always good. And now with enough energy on hand, we can go ahead and spend down. And then the 5 cost discounted by 3 means that we will spend 2 credits to fund that project. We can claim this card. And for this one, we'll now construct, and it will be one of our laboratories. Now this decision is also a tough one, because if we build this lab, we'll gain 3 credits, which, you know, as much money as we were sitting on, we're going through it here. But if we build this one out, then we can tap into the corporation token of wherever we place out. As much as I would like the credits, I'm thinking, let's build this one out. So it's going to take the rare earth, the 3 titanium, 1 energy, and we'll build this out. Now, I'm going to build it right here, which it is not powered up, so we are going to have to spend this last rare earth to build this solar panel and power it up, which of course increases the energy and will boost us up right there. Now I wanted this one for the corporation token because that's going to give us this last civilian that is located here in the lower thresholds for reputation. And what I'm worried about is we're going to lose some reputation because of our drill. And we would not dip below the threshold over here just yet, but I'm worried about this getting too low and these guys not being available for us. And the other thing too is, at a minimum, we now have 5 of these civilians. So at the very least, we'll qualify for claiming this objective here. If we could squeeze a couple more out, then we could shoot for the top objective. It's another reason why I want to keep pushing up this track here. And of course, we'll also get to activate this laboratory. We'll gain the resource of the sector we just built into. So that'll gain us another titanium. And then finally, we've sent the right worker here, so we'll get to do a corporation action. And for that, we're going to activate this guy here and tap it. So that'll let us activate up to 2 of our halls. We now have 2 halls that are occupied. So it's going to gain us titanium, 6 credits, and 2 reputation. So we're getting pretty high up on the reputation track. And then a little bit of money back, and 1 more titanium. And with that, we move over to Alien's last turn of the round. He's going to send him out to build. That would have cost him 2, but he has freshly discounted that, so it's only going to cost him 1 credit to send there. And then he's going to construct his last laboratory. So that will take 1 energy. And the last of his titanium and rare earth. And he's going to build right into that sector there. Building that workshop will let him grab a blueprint. And then, of course, 3 credits. And the rare earth from that sector. He does not get that bonus there. However, he does get to tap into this right here. Since he built, he can take a corporation action. He's going to activate that one. He's going to spend 1 blueprint to put this out. And he's going to overbuild right onto there. And by building that dome, he now gets that instant benefit, which lets him take another corporation action. He's going to repeat that same thing. He's going to spend another blueprint to overbuild again, and he's going to build this dome out. And he'll just build it right there. But that unlocks another instant benefit where he is now able to fund a project. Now, energy requirements are an issue, so he's going to spend 2 of his credits to boost up that energy by 1, which will increase him there. But then he's also going to spend his rare earth to build this solar panel here, which will produce 2 more energy, which will boost him up by 2 right there. And now he's going to fund the gym. This is going to cost him 5 credits, and there is now 5 energy on hand, so he can spend 1 of those. And 5 of his credits. to grab this. We are really out of room. Now, most importantly, that's going to get him 5 points. That's a nice high value card, but it says every time he funds a project, he'll produce 1 energy for each civilian in his base. And the way that these cards work, we've seen this already, is once you've funded them and they come into play, they are considered part of your tableau as you set off what is in that corner. So he will actually produce 1 energy for this right here. Which will, of course, move him even further up the track. For our final action of the round, I'm kind of thinking we snipe the majority away from Mr. Alien in this row right here. Currently, he's got 3, 6, and we have 3, 4, 5, 6. But again, he's winning in the tiebreakers on both ends. If we build, and we can only build inside there, even a size 1 structure would give us the majority. So if we don't do that, we will not be bringing any of these astronauts back, because Alien has locked up the majority, or, he's going to get all these. But if we build there, we'll at least bring a couple back, and that would be good to help us fill in our laboratories by the end of the game for some scoring. So I'm kind of thinking we do that. So we'll send this guy out. It's going to cost 3, and we won't get the bonus. But now we can send a building out there. And I don't know if it super matters, but we'll go ahead and build this workshop right there, which is going to cost 2 titanium. And because we built that, we'll relocate him over to here. I think we're going to be fine titanium-wise, and we're still going to get another one for income. So this will help lower our maintenance costs. And then we'll build that right there. And so with that last placement, that finishes the action phase of round 2. So now we'll move into the maintenance phase here. First thing we do is corporation maintenance. And of course, first one is Undermoon's rep loss for the drill tracks. And we are sitting at this level here, which will lose us 3 reputation. And that's nice. We're still sitting in a threshold. We can grab these. And of course, Mr. Alien still hasn't budged his drill. Zenith Works is going to score points for the overbuilds. And Mr. Alien is the only one that's going to cash in on this. And he's going to do pretty good. Something that has a level 2 on it is going to be worth 1 point. And something that's up to level 3 is worth 4 points. So he has, this is up to 3 levels, so that's worth 4 points. He's got a level 2 and a level 2 for a total of 6 points. That maintenance is done, and now we retrieve our astronauts back from the crater here. And now that we've secured a majority, we'll get to take both of these back. Mr. Alien has a clear majority here, so he'll get both of these. And he also has a clear majority here, so he'll get this one. And we might as well stick him up there to bring us in a couple of points during income. And again, we could put him up there for but we don't need titanium. And we could move him around to bring us in a little more money, but I like keeping these guys here for the remainder of the round, so that we continue to get those discounts if we want to fund further projects. So we'll go with that. Now Alien here is going to put both of his engineers in there. I hope that offsets the tremendous maintenance costs that he has lined himself up for here. And actually, he's going to rearrange a little bit like that. And with that, we now do our income. So for us, this will gain us 2 points. And then we'll gain our income over here, which is going to be 1 titanium, 6 credits, and 2 of those reputation back. Alien will get 3 credits for each of these guys, so total of 6 there, and a titanium for each of them. Then we do our maintenance costs, which again is a combination of what's on your base plus where you're at on the rep track. We both have a maintenance cost of 3 on the reputation track here. So we have 1, 3, 5, 8, 11, plus the 3 out on the reputation track for a total of 14. But each of our engineers in this workshop gives us a 3 credit discount. So 14 minus 6, our maintenance costs are 8 credits. Alien has 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 11, 14, 17, plus the 3 on the rep track for a total of 20 for his maintenance costs. And of course, that is discounted by 6 there. So he has a total of 14 for his maintenance costs. Now, unfortunately, all of that overbuilding and regular building, he might have bit off a little more than he can chew. He only has a total of 10 credits on hand. So he'll pay all 10 of those there. And then for each credit he can't pay, he will lose 1 on the rep track. So he'll go down by 4. Now, he had enough reputation to soak that up. However, he lost on that track, and most importantly, he's heading into the 3rd round without any credits to his name, at least not from income. So we'll see how this shakes out. But with maintenance costs taken care of, last step is to clear off all of these astronauts here. We'll just reset that card. That's it for round 2. We'll head into the shuttle phase for round 3. And since we are second in turn order, we will get first choice on the shuttles here. Looking at these here, I wouldn't mind going first, but I like the fact that this comes with a rare earth. And we're going to need one of those to build out one of our last laboratory. And there are not very many engineers across here, so without having to exploit a crater, it'd be nice to just have one of those rare earths. So I'm thinking, let's go with this one right here. And it looks like Mr. Alien will take this one here, which means that is left for the Lunar Gateway. So none of the blues will go in. There's only room for one of the yellows, and there's only one red coming off of there. So for our shuttle here, that will gain us, let's move these over a little bit. Titanium rare earth and 4 credits. And with the fact that we are number 4 and Mr. Alien went with number 5, turn order will reverse. Alien will gain 2 rare earth, 5 credits. All right, for our first turn here, I think we're going to exploit the crater. This is going to be a pretty good move for us. So we'll send out one of these guys, and we're going to run this line right here. Now for this crater, we'll just take a blueprint. I'm sorry, not crater, that's a sector. And for this sector, we'll take a civilian. For this sector, we will repair this fracture, which will give us 2 reputation, and our ongoing ability lets us also exploit that. So we will gain another civilian. There's our 2 rep and our other civilian. And for this last sector, I really don't want to do this, but we have to activate it. So we're going to advance our drill. I say I don't want to because I don't think we're going to make it a whole lot further on this track, and that just means we're going to lose a little bit more rep. That's okay. I think we'll be fine there, but we got to advance that. Now that does gain us 1 credit. And most importantly, we can now claim our first corporation goal of the game. We actually qualify for a couple of them. We now have 3 fracture tokens, so we could grab that one. But I think the one we're going to go with is we now have 7 civilians in our base. So we're going to grab that one. So we'll take one of our goal tokens here. And we will claim this top number, which will give us 12 points right away, plus wherever we're at on the reputation track. And we just reached the highest threshold of +4. So we're going to get a total of 16 points for that. So that'll jump us up to 18 points. And now we can take a look at these tokens right here. These tokens are another element that's been added in with the expansion, and they are just some little boosts that you gain whenever you cross that victory point threshold. So it's first come, first serve. Since we crossed it first, we can take a look at these, decide which of these we want, claim that token, and then we'll put the rest back for whoever comes behind us. And I think we're pretty good on credits and titanium. So between these two, we could gain 3 victory points. But interestingly, if we grab this one here, it'll give us the same thing because it'll give us 1 bump here, and then the remaining 3 bumps will give us 3 more points. So now we'll take this one away. These 3 go back. So now by claiming this corporation goal, that's the only one we can claim for that corporation. And again, these bottom ones are only available in higher player counts. So now that we've locked that in, we're good. It's also worth noting that you can only claim 1 corporation goal per turn. So as we approach the end of the game, timing on that is pretty important. You definitely don't want to wait until you're out of turns to get all of these guys out right here. So I think we're sitting pretty good. Maybe next turn we might grab the other one that we qualify for. Mr. Alien is also going to exploit the crater, bring in a little bit of money. He's going to go right there. That'll get him 3, 6, 9 credits. Back to us, and let's fund another project. I think we'll try interacting with Zenith Works here. So we'll grab the mining facilities, and that's going to cost us 2 credits, and we'll need to spend 1 energy. The instant benefit, as we said before, this will come with all of the B structures. So these will come with the card. And, oh dear, okay. Place that right there. Now these 2 structures are here, and as a corporation action, we can overbuild these. Now when you overbuild these ones, it does not take blueprints to do it or any other resource. You simply as a corporation action, build these out. And in fact, that's exactly what we're going to do. For our benefit here, we'll build one of these out, and we'll go with this one. We'll just overbuild right there, and then the card says overbuild and gain the resource associated with it. Now, interestingly, whenever you exploit this crater, if you were to send out an engineer, whoever exploits it is going to gain that additional resource. So this sector just became a little bit more valuable if you're looking for those kind of resources. Thinking about those corporation goals, I don't think there's any super big rush. We got a couple more turns to find out, do we need to cash in on these 3 here, or is it possible we work our drill all the way down? So we don't have to decide just yet, but we got to keep that in the forefront of our thinking. Back to Mr. Alien. He's going to exploit some more, and he's going to come down right here. That will gain him a civilian, and this one will gain him a blueprint. So the last one of that rep threshold has now been taken. If he wants any more, he's going to need to climb up to 12 plus. Back over to us, and with the card that just came out for Zenith Works, the power plant, we are absolutely going to grab that. This is going to be a good move for us. So we'll send this guy out, which will cost us 1 credit. And then credit cost is going to be 2 more credits there, and we'll need to spend 1 energy. And again, our energy discount makes it okay that it's sitting at 4. And now we put out the power plant. This card here, as you grab the actual power plant, which is structure E, and this gets placed out onto the board immediately. So the card comes into our collection here. I'm just going to set it somewhat off to the side here. Now when you place the power plant out, it needs to go down into a powered sector. So anywhere that's got a solar panel is fine. So we're actually going to place it right here, and you can see that it covers up both the workshop and laboratory spaces, which, can block people out of being able to build there. But now there's an interesting community resource out there, which is the power plant. From now on, any player that is doing an action that has an energy requirement, that player can place a credit onto each one of these spaces as many times as they want, as long as there's a free space to do it. And for each credit they place out, they lower the energy requirement for that action. So this functions very much like our discount right here, except you need to pay credits out to make that happen. So it's a way that you can, make something energy accessible if you're either low on rare earth or, what have you. Then during maintenance, whoever's the owner of the power plant, in this case that would be us, they collect all of the money that is on the power plant, and that becomes part of their supply. So it's an interesting way for everyone to have the ability to lower energy requirements, but the owner of the power plant gets a kickback. For our bonus corporation action, I think what we're going to do on this one is just activate our card right here, which will let us activate those 2 halls over there. That'll get us 6 credits, 1 titanium, and what would be 2 bumps on the rep track, but since we're maxed, that translates into 2 points. And now, here's the real reason why this power plant was huge for us. We can claim the highest corporation goal for Zenith Works. Again, this one wants to have 2 level 2 structures out. This wants you to have 1 level 3 structure out. This one wants you to have a sum total of 7 of ZenithWorks structures in place. And the power plant was 5 of those. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then with that other build that we did, that's the 7 that we need to be able to complete this objective. So we're going to put this guy out. That's going to be 12 plus the 4 for another 16 points. And just like the 10 points, we get to take a look at these. And these ones are pretty powerful. This one allows you, when you build a structure, you can discard this token to build a solar panel for free and then reduce the cost of that structure's construction by 1 titanium and 1 rare earth. By the way, all of these tokens, you claim it and then you hang on to it until you do the action that it would apply to, then you can discard the token and get its benefit. Like this one here, if you exploit the crater, then you can get double the benefits. You do not pay the cost twice to any owners of sectors that it belongs to. This one here, when you go to the Lunar Gateway, you would gain an additional corporation action. This one here, when you would fund a project, you can reduce the energy requirements and the credit requirements both by 3. So I'm not really worried about the buildings or exploiting the crater for that matter. So between these two, they both would be really good because projects are just straight up worth points. But I think I might go with this one here because I've got an idea for what 2 corporation actions that we could take. And if we go to the Lunar Gateway, we could swap out the right kind of astronauts for our base here. So maybe we'll go with this. Over to Mr. Alien. He is going to fund another project. He'll gain a 2 credit discount on his placement, so that placement will be for free. And then he's going to fund the maintenance crew right here. That will cost him 5 credits. It does have an energy requirement of 5. And we're currently sitting on 3. So he'll spend his rare earth to build that solar panel, getting a little supply there in the middle, but that will generate the 2 energy needed, which will increase him on that track. And then of course, he'll need to actually spend 1 of those energy and his 5 credits. His money is all sitting off to the side here, running out of room. But then he can claim the maintenance crew. Now, this instant benefit right here says that he can grab the next available citizen. And interestingly, with this one, you do not need to meet the reputation requirements. In order to, where the reputation requirements come in are when you're activating the corporation tokens to gain it that way. But this one here, anytime in the game you see a green check mark, it basically just means you get that thing for free. So if there was a structure with a check mark, you get to build that structure for free, that kind of thing. So in this case, he just gets to claim this citizen. And now I'll just place that one right there. I almost forgot. He should have produced 2 energy there when he was purchasing this card. So he actually did not need to spend his rare earth. And he didn't create that solar panel. He got those 2 energy just from that right there. And now he is going to go ahead and claim one of his own corporation goals. In fact, he's going to grab this one right here. He has a level 3 structure out there, so that will gain him 8 points. Plus, he's crossed that threshold there, so he'll get a total of 10 points for this. For this one, he's just going to take the 3 points. All right, coming back to us, we are going to fund yet another project. So it's going to cost us 3 to place here. That goes away. Let's fund the automated excavation. So that's going to cost us 2 credits, and we'll need to have a total of 3 energy on hand and spend 1 of them. So we're good there. Our 2 credits. And now this one comes in, and we can build a structure right away. We're going to build our last laboratory, which is going to cost 3 titanium and a rare earth. I don't think it matters too much where we place this, so we'll place it out right there. We won't get any particular sector benefits by putting it out, but it is a powered sector. And with that going out, now every time we build, our drill does advance. So that's going to push forward by 1, which will bring out another fracture. And we'll stick that right there, which gain us another rare earth. And every time the drill advances, it does gain us a credit. Now we'll gain the benefit of all of these. So 3 credits. We'll gain another citizen, and we certainly meet the rep requirement for that. And now this part is a little bit of a gray area in my mind as far as order of operations and timing of things. We sent that fracture token out, which means normally when you exploit the crater, you would gain that resource that's in the middle. But I don't know if the fracture token should have gone down first or we should have exploited it. I'm just going to play it that the fracture token went out first and therefore we cannot exploit it for the additional resource. I'm not sure if that's accurate, but that's how we're going to play it for now. Let me know what you think. Just tuck that over there. And then for our bonus, I think we'll just take the 2 bumps on this track, which will translate into 2 more points. Over to Alien. He's going to visit the Lunar Gateway. He's going to bring back a red, so that'll get him 3 credits. This red, and then he can do a corporation action, and he's going to try to push himself back up on that track there. And then he is going to claim another corporation goal. He has 3 of the civilians in his base, and so he will claim this one right there, which will give him 4 plus 3, so he'll gain 7 more points for that, which will give him access to these tokens. All right, coming back to us, we're going to fund 1 more project, which is going to cost us 4 for the placement. We'll go there, and we'll grab that one. So again, that's going to cost us 2 credits, and we're just fine there. Energy requirements are dropped by 2, so we will need to spend 1 of those. Spend the 2 credits. We'll grab the research fund. We're literally only grabbing this for the points. There are some other projects like this one here that would give us 5 points, but I don't want to do any more construction and open up more maintenance costs and all that kind of stuff. So I figure we'll just go with the 1 point less and have less to deal with maintenance-wise and openings in our base. Now, this would have been an interesting card to deal with if you have your headquarters out. Every civilian that is in here can count as any color, and then you also lower credit requirements for funding projects for each civilian that is inside your headquarters there. No bonus since we sent the wrong color. So over to Mr. Alien. He's going to visit the Lunar Gateway again. And he's going to bring back this yellow one. 3 more credits. And once again, he's going to push up on this reputation track. It's not very flashy, but each of these moves is earning him points and building up his money pool to fund his large maintenance costs. Back to us for our final turn of the game. We are going to send him over to do some corporation actions. I originally had planned on sending him up to the Lunar Gateway, thinking that we would need to swap out some of our astronauts here, but I think we're actually sitting on exactly what we need, so there's no need to swap. So instead, we end up not using this token. That's okay, because by putting him here, we will gain 3 corporation actions, and actually we still could bring somebody back from the Lunar Gateway. So for our first 2 corporation actions, it's going to be the same one. We're going to activate the Undermoon's other ability here, where we will take the hull tiles we have and flip them to point scoring. So for the first corporation action, we will flip this tile right there. Second corporation action, we'll flip that tile right there. Now with those flipped, and with there being meeples next to it, the end of the game will score 6 points for each one of those. Then our third and final corporation action will be to gain 2 bumps on the rep track, which will give us 2 points. And then finally, we will claim our last corporation goal. That's going to take us back up to Undermoon. We did not hit this one. We do have that one, but most importantly, we have the middle one here. So we'll grab that for 8 plus 4, so we'll get 12 more points for that. So that will loop us over to here, and then we'll grab one of these tokens. For Mr. Alien's final turn of the game, once again, it is not flashy, but it is necessary for him. He's going back to the Lunar Gateway. And actually, this should have been gone because they were at the limit up there. Out with the old, in with the new. He's bringing back old Mr. Blue. So that's 3 credits, a blue astronaut, and you might have guessed it, he will cap himself out on that track there. And with Mr. Alien's final action, that completes the 3rd action phase. We'll do 1 more maintenance phase, and then we'll go into final scoring. So again, Undermoon's maintenance phase, we will lose 4 reputation for where we're at on this track here. And then for Zenith Works, we'll actually score 1 point for having a level 2 structure right there. And once again, Mr. Alien is going to score 6 points for the structures he's built. Next up, we will retrieve astronauts off of the crater. And this one will go to Mr. Alien. This one will go to Mr. Alien, and this one will come back to us. We want to fill up each of our labs with the appropriate colors of astronauts. So if we do it like this is going to be perfect, because remember, due to this card right here, our citizens can be any color. So this one's going to be filled with yellows, that's filled with reds and blues, And then we have this extra little blue guy hanging out right there, which will give us 2 victory points, and that'll give us max discount on our maintenance costs. So a good planning and arrangement right there. On to Mr. Alien here. These are the 2 that he brought back. And now with the retrieval and rearrangement done, you can collect income. So for us, that's just going to be 2 more points. Mr. Alien is going to collect a total of 6 more credits. And now we have to pay maintenance costs. So for us, we have 3, 6, 9, 10, 12, 14, plus 4 more for a total of 18, minus a discount of 6. So our maintenance costs are a total of 12. Fortunately, we're just a little bit shy, so we can pay for 10 of that there. And then we will lose... Oh, I'm wrong about that. We're just 1 shy instead of 2 shy. I was looking at aliens. So we'll still lose 1 on the rep track right there. Mr. Alien has 3, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 15, 17, plus 4 for a total of 21, minus 6. So his total maintenance costs are going to be 15. So he's just fine. He was able to pay for everything. And that's it. We can pretty much ignore this last step here. It's irrelevant. So now we move into final scoring. Final scoring is summarized right here at the bottom of the board. We're going to add up all the points that come from the projects we funded, our astronauts that are in our laboratories, where we're at on the reputation track, and then any endgame scoring provided by the corporations themselves. So first up, we'll add the points from the projects that we funded. So all of ours added up give us a total of 26 points. Mr. Alien's projects total 15 points. And next up is laboratories. However many of the appropriate color astronauts we've got into our laboratories. So again, if you only had one of the appropriate color, you get 2 points. If you had 2, you get 5. And for all 3, you get 10 points. And once again, due to our card's special ability that lets us treat our citizens as wilds, we've filled this up with everything we need for a total of 30 points. So that'll loop us back around to right there. And we'll flip this token over to the 100. Over to Yeti. I'm realizing I mixed that up there. That was supposed to be down there, and he should have gotten a little less income. But he also has the same thing for a total of 30 points. So he will loop back to that and gain one of those. Next up is where we're at on the reputation track. We will gain 10 points. And Mr. Alien will gain 15. The last category to score will be the corporations themselves. Now, again, not every corporation offers endgame scoring, but some of them do. For example, Zenith Works, there is no endgame scoring for that one. For Undermoon, that comes in the form of these tokens that have been flipped. which we were able to get 2 of those with occupants in those halls. So that'll gain us a total of 12 points. And then Lunar City will give you 1 victory point for every citizen that is in your base. So we have a total of 8 citizens in our base. And Mr. Alien has 3. And there you have it. That's it for endgame scoring. We ended our 144 to Mr. Alien's 96. That one wasn't even close. I think we were able to make really good use of our leader's ability and then couple that with some good momentum that came from getting these projects going. And we pivoted a time or two, so maybe that hurt what we could have scored in the long run, but I felt like it was the right choice in the moment based on what was happening. Conversely, Mr. Alien never even used his leader ability once. There just didn't seem to be the right opportunity for it. And I wonder, too, if leaning so heavily into building and then overbuilding caused him to over-leverage in round 2 and just didn't have good resource availability, certainly not credits, heading into the 3rd round. So not sure if the right choices were made for that, but the thought and the hope there was that by getting a lot of buildings out and presence on the map that could be leveraged. But as it turns out, decent job done over here, okay job done over here. But either way, this should give you, hopefully, a pretty good sense of that core framework that is inside every game of Shackleton Base, where placing your workers out and the way that you can come to the command actions here, or leveraging the crater for resources, and of course the Lunar Gateway. But then the way that each of these corporations drastically shakes up what you're going to be doing, and it really changes the flavor of each game, which can make each one fresh, make you think about it in different ways, and take different approaches. And of course, there's a lot of player interaction here, not in a way that necessarily really messes up or, kicks over your sandcastle, but definitely in a way that you got to be paying attention to what others are doing out on the board and the way that can affect you, and ways that you could leverage what you're seeing happen out there. I had mentioned way back in the beginning of the video that I would briefly go over some of the other corporations that you can find. And again, the 3 that we brought out here are specifically from the expansion. It's the only 3 corporations you find in the expansion, but the expansion is the only place you'll find these corporations. There are 7 corporations that come in the base game box. And just to give you a very brief overview, you have Artemis Tours. This one is kind of like Lunar City, where there are these tourists that come out and you can bring them into your base. And as with any one of these corporations, one of the biggest things that shakes it up is the deck of cards that comes with it and the special powers that you get to leverage in conjunction with the corporation. So this one's similar to Lunar City, where you'll be using the tourists that are on here to leverage special powers that are in the deck of cards. You've got Selenium Research. This is a company that is interested in various minerals that are out on the moon. And so the corporation tokens will let you collect a certain type of resource. It's kind of like recipe fulfillment, where you're grabbing resources from the moon and then using it to complete projects that are found on this board here. There is moon mining, and this one here will also have you collecting resources from out on the board and then crating it up and shipping it off back to Earth. You have Evergreen Farms. This one, similar to Zenith Works, will let you build other structures out onto the board there, which will help you generate further resources. Skywatch is interesting. In this one, there is an asteroid on a collision course with the moon. And so this is like an Overwatch program that is tracking that asteroid with the potential of being able to perhaps destroy the asteroid before it makes impact. If the asteroid does impact by the end of the game, then it can mess with some of your presence out on the board. Space robotics is one that you work with this corporation to develop these various robots that can automate various aspects of your tableau, ways of getting income and discounting other things. And then there is To Mars. Now this one here has you sending some of the resources and things that you've generated off to Mars in the attempt of scoring even more points. So that's a very brief overview of what's out there. There's a wide variety, and as I said, the decks of cards and the way that they interact with the corporations make a big difference. But either way, I've played with all of these corporations at this point, and one thing that I can say is that every game feels like Shackleton Base. And yet, at the same time, every game has felt fresh because of a new mix of corporations that come out. So it offers a lot of variety and a lot to wrap your head around. But I hope that this game, this playthrough, helped you wrap your head around how to actually play this and give a good demonstration of it. I hope that you enjoyed it. Thank you very much for joining and watching. And until the next time, we'll see you on our next expedition.